Mick Schumacher finally has a silver lining after losing his Haas drive and splitting from Ferrari. The son of F1 legend Michael Schumacher has joined Mercedes as a reserve driver for 2023, ahead of what Mick hopes will be a proper F1 comeback in 2024. Schumacher was part of the Ferrari Driver Academy for 4 years and raced 2 seasons in F1 with Haas, but now he has a change of scenery that at least gives him a good short-term program. That work will be Schumacher's immediate priority, but there will also be an effort to find him a racing return in 2024, and while that is really unlikely to be with Mercedes, we think Schumacher has some realistic options elsewhere. As we run through what all this means, let us know what you think of a Schumacher linking up with Mercedes again, and where you'd like to see Mick return to the F1 grid. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel to keep feeding your F1 habit with us during the off-season. Schumacher will have a busy simulator program with regular work at Brackley helping the development of the 2023 Mercedes W14 and attending every race trackside. This is a perfect stopgap between his first crack at F1 and what he intends to be a second chance in the future, but more on that shortly. It may seem a bit peculiar for Ferrari to have released Schumacher just to take an off-track role somewhere else when he could have just been reserve at Ferrari if both sides wanted that to happen. But Ferrari has Antonio Giovinazzi on its books, and the Italian, a highly regarded simulator driver, has plenty of F1 experience of his own. So Ferrari was already well set, and Schumacher joining Mercedes seems a good outcome for everyone involved. Given Giovinazzi's reputation at Ferrari, it's easy to imagine Schumacher will have a more focused role at Mercedes. His simulator program and his work trackside will give him defined responsibilities and opportunities, he can test himself in a new environment, and he gets the benefit of working at a team that has achieved so much in recent years. The Mercedes reserve driver role is also a good one because it puts Schumacher in the frame for multiple teams at once. While substitute appearances are rare, there have been opportunities for a few drivers in each of the last 3 seasons. And though teams tend to have their own reserves, in recent years the Mercedes ones have been an option for their customers as well. That finally manifested itself in a real F1 chance with Nick de Vries making his debut by standing in for Alex Albon at Williams last year. De Vries was also on call for McLaren in Brazil when Lando Norris was feeling unwell. It stands to reason that Schumacher will be an option for McLaren and Williams to call on in 2023. Aston Martin now has Stoffel Vandoorne and Felipe Drugovich on its books as reserves, so that team is well covered. But Vandoorne leaving his role at Mercedes, plus De Vries getting an AlphaTauri race seat, at least means Schumacher has no competition as backup for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. So in addition to other benefits, Schumacher's probably given himself the best chance of a 2023 appearance or two by joining Mercedes, even if it's unlikely. When Schumacher lost his drive, he said he wanted to prove everybody who doesn't believe in him wrong and get back on the grid in 2024. Working out where he might be able to do that is a largely speculative exercise for now, but we think there are 2 genuinely serious options. And while Schumacher can expect to get a lot out of Mercedes, his 2023 employer isn't one of those options. Schumacher is quite away from looking worthy of such an opportunity, and in any case, Hamilton is expected to sign a new deal and Russell is the team's long-term future. So even if Schumacher did enough behind the scenes to convince Mercedes he could be a valid contender, it's simply unlikely there will be space for him. But there will be opportunities elsewhere. If Williams' 2023 gamble with American rookie Logan Sargent doesn't work out, or, for example, Albon is poached by another team, then it's not that difficult to imagine Schumacher finding a chance there. Ex-Williams boss Jost Capito claimed Schumacher was on the team's shortlist for 2023, and the experience of the Mercedes power unit, some potential support from his new boss Toto Wolff, and a chance to further refine himself as a driver at Mercedes would make Schumacher a viable candidate again. One of the most interesting routes open to Schumacher, though, is to be identified by Audi as a candidate for its Sauber-run works team in 2026. Audi has already made noises about the benefits of a German driver for its project, and if that's seriously the direction it wants to go in, then with respect to Nico Hülkenberg, who will be 38 by the time Audi's debut rolls around, Schumacher is the only real candidate. Sauber, currently Alfa Romeo in F1, will field Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu for a second season together in 2023. But the Alfa Romeo deal ends next year, and at that point the Audi influence may start to show. Bringing in Schumacher from the cold would give the team a chance to warm him up in 2024, with an expectation of a clear step as a driver in 2025 ahead of the full Audi rebrand. Audi would ideally still have a proper top-line option to lead the project, and while Schumacher is unlikely to be a world champion in the making, he still has something to offer in F1 and may yet have the makings of an effective support act for a leading team. Having driven with Mercedes engines in Formula 3 and even been on its F1 simulator back in 2014, Schumacher is having the most tenuous of personal reunions. For the Schumacher family as a whole, though, there is a much stronger connection and sentimental value. The Schumacher-Mercedes story stretches back to 1989, when Michael Schumacher was signed by the Mercedes Junior team along with Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Karl Wendlinger. The trio split the second seat in the Sauber-run Mercedes entry in the World Sports Car Championship alongside Jochen Mass in 1990, before Schumacher and Wendlinger had a full season in 1991, taking 7th in the championship and winning the season finale. That year, Schumacher also made his F1 debut for Jordan before immediately being poached by Benetton, but Mercedes, which had paid for that Jordan debut at Spa, still had a call on his services. In 1992, this actually led to Schumacher being announced as a 1993 F1 race driver for Sauber, which would come into the championship with support from Mercedes. But Schumacher had no interest in joining Sauber and severed ties with Mercedes, with 2 decades passing before they would be reunited. It wasn't until Schumacher had retired from F1 at the end of 2006, then aborted his planned comeback with Ferrari as stand-in for the injured Felipe Massa in 2009, that the stars aligned for him to become a Mercedes man at last in 2010. Mercedes bought the triumphant Brawn team, with Schumacher making his comeback as teammate to Nico Rosberg, and he did so with big ambitions, aiming to fight for the title. Schumacher's return didn't live up to those lofty expectations. He managed only 1 podium finish during his 3 seasons with Mercedes before retiring for a second time after the team signed Lewis Hamilton for 2013. But Schumacher performed better than is often remembered, and more importantly, he made a significant contribution to the evolution of the team. Schumacher's impact helped Mercedes become the F1 force it is today, an organisation his son will now look to benefit from. Mick's arrival raises the possibility, however slim, that we might see a Schumacher racing a Mercedes F1 car again one day. But his ambitions will probably be more realistic. Whatever work Schumacher conducts for Mercedes in 2023 will have real value if he does a good job. But for him, it's whatever he can do to aid his cause for 2024 that will ultimately matter more.